Hello and welcome to Jorgy Stripping the Dipping, and you're joined by your normal co-host AMG Denz. I run the roads like Michelin. Black men just see me whipping in. And listen, when I go to Germany and I hit the track, they call me Michael Shoeblacker, yeah? And I'm young and I haven't aged like Fernando, and I know when to pit for Inter, so I'm not moving like Lando. And guys, I got that 5-star extravaganza for your Clark, yeah? I pulled up in a blacked off Porsche. I showed the haters no remorse. And this is that quick stop F1 sauce. Are you crazy? Are you mad?
Wow.
I'm so gassed right now.
Wow.
Everybody, please give a warm welcome to my brother and one half of the quick stop F1 platform, Nyasha. Bro, how are you feeling today?
Wow. That is great.
Mate,
That
I
is
had to.
incredible. That is incredible.
Bro,
Oh my
I had
god.
to.
That is mad. Thank you so much, Denz. Oh my god, it's so mad being on the other end of an introduction.
I know, right? It's
So
like roles reversed today.
yeah, so it's nice. No, thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you both for having me on, man. This is really cool, really exciting. I can't wait to chop it up with you guys.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And listen, I'm overjoyed to hear that as well, bro, because it means so much to have you on the show with us today. And not just to me, but to all of us. Quick Stop F1 is not just a podcast, it's a community for all things and everything F1 with a plethora of content that's absolutely tantalizingly exquisite. So,
Wow.
without further ado, yeah, sure, let's get into this. So, how was Quick Stop F1 first founded? And what
Yeah.
makes the platform so different and original to other shows?
Oof. So I'd wanted to do an F1 podcast. I think I'd got it into my head around 2020. I think lockdown. And I remember I've always been into F1. I've watched F1 since I was 6, and um, the older I got, the more I kind of watched it a lot before I went to uni, and then I went to uni and I followed it, but because I was at uni, I just kind of went by the wayside a little bit. And then once I came back from uni, it became a big part of my routine, and I just started loving it again and really getting into it. But around 2019 is when I really started getting into the technical aspects of it, and listening to content about it. And I didn't even know F1 podcast existed. And I remember I was going on a long journey on a coach, and I was like, I'd listened to all my football podcasts, I'd listened to all my other podcasts, and I was like, hang about, are there any F1 podcasts? And I literally searched F1 podcasts in like Apple Podcasts like search frame. And then I ended up listening to a couple. I was like, wow, I'd love to do something like this. Sat on it for a bit, and then long story short, one day I messaged Tandy because we used to talk on Twitter. She used to like interact in my F1 tweets, and I just said to her, I was like, do you want to just start an F1 podcast? And we'll just make it like a bite-size kind of podcast that we do after every race. And I think it'll be really cool because I can't see any black people doing podcasts in F1, and I guess it would be cool for us to do it. So she was on it, and then yeah, we started it. March 2021, and it's just become a lot more than I'd ever really envisaged. And I guess the reason why we're different, I just think we're so unapologetically who we are. We're unapologetically. I'm unapologetically me. Tanya's unapologetically her, and people can see our faces. They can see we're black. They can see we're genuine, and we just want to make it as fun as possible. I think there's so much incredible technical analysis of F1, and there's so much incredible content which is very polished and very high level. And I guess we've just come in and said, look, we're gonna put some gunshots and air horns in there, and we're gonna make funny little fan cams, and we're just gonna make it as fun as possible. And I think we're probably the funnest F1 podcast out there, and I'm really proud of that. And I guess that's probably the USP of us, that we're two visible black people doing a really fun F1 podcast.
I think you nailed it there, bro, with this the description of the show and just how unique and quality the content is. And listen, for all the listeners tuning in right now, yeah, I need you. I'm on my knees. Pause. I'm on my knees. What you guys need to do is go onto YouTube, type in quick stop F1, press the subscribe button, and thank me and Jorgy and everybody later, because you will be so satisfied. You're doing yourself a disservice, like a dissatisfaction, if you don't go and tune into their content, because it's just
Thank you.
amazing. And to highlight on some of the points you mentioned there as well, Nyasha, like some really great points there, because the show has great conversations. The conversations are very engaging and insightful. It's a
Yeah.
plethora of guests that you have access to, and that ranges from engineers to journalists, people that have real on the track experience of the sport and their knowledge. And what I
Yeah.
really love as well is just like mention how organic it is to have like two black hosts, and it's a proper sustainable alternative. It's not like these sidemen on Sky Sports here, them flipping dirty pundits like Paul the Rester and them sidemen there. I can't stand them. And also, whilst on the topic of it as well, big shout out to Tandy. Big
Yeah,
shout.
for
She's the
sure.
boss. She is the boss. I'm telling you, honestly. The thing I
She's
love
really
about
cool.
her, she honestly, she just like I just love how she says it. She says it as it is. She literally says what's on all of our minds at home. And I can't lie, bro. When I first jumped onto the platform when it was the other way around, man had like a Digger D like moment, like I don't know if you know about that meme where Digger D gets to meet Nicki Minaj in real life, and that was like me meeting like Tandy for the first time. I was absolutely
That is
starstruck.
hilarious. No, you know what? Yeah, like um, it's cool because the way it works. No, I'll be really honest, and Tandy knows this as well. Like I had approached uh other people to do it with me first, and
Mhm.
for one reason or another, that fell through, and fate is fate, and you know what I mean. And Tandy suggests, and it's just like the perfect combination. I think everyone kind of knows that I am probably I'm the one on the socials, and I obviously edit the fan cams and stuff like that. But Tandy's a real star of the show, and without her, the Quickstop is just such a different kind of product, and especially with her being a black woman in a sport where visible black women are so far far and few and far between, sorry. I think it's just incredible that you know she is such a shining example of when you do allow black women a voice and a platform, to see what they can do with it. And look, you're not the only one. I could tell you now who is very enamored by Tandy. She's an incredible partner in this, and I know I honestly couldn't fathom doing it with anyone else for real. She's a star. She's a star for sure, and I think in the future, for her, the world's her oyster in terms of, whether she wanted to go into media, journalism, PR, like whatever she wants to do within motorsport. I think the world's her oyster, to be honest.
Yes, sir. I absolutely agree with you on that one, bro. And kind of brings me on to the next question, because to set the scene, Quick Stop F1 is not no small thing yet. This thing, I'm telling people, it's the future. Whether you like it, you love it, or you want to lump it, that's facts. And on here, we only talk facts. So that's what it
Definitely.
is. And what I want to really find out, bro, is just like how do you deal maybe with some of the adversity that comes with the success? Because we know that when I wouldn't even say you guys are on the come up. You guys have been on the come up. You guys have been on the grind. You guys already seen the fruits of the labor. But of course, you will get a small minority, some trolls,
Of
some
course,
some
yeah,
some
yeah.
idiots out there that don't appreciate the greatness, and essentially they want to stink up the vibes. How do you deal with that kind of like backlash sometimes from those small group of people? And what advice would you have to other content creators in terms of the mental health aspect and balancing, a happy kind of like, personal life with also content
Yeah,
creation?
it's tough. I like I said, I'm quite lucky, I guess, in that I have been making content for like 6 years now. So
Mhm.
before I was doing Formula One content, obviously I was doing the food content, which is why my Twitter handle is Munch Club TV. And so with that, I've kind of gone through the process of finding my voice, dealing with something not being as successful as I thought. Like if you put out a video and you don't get as many views, and the effort you put in, and then also like negative moments and negative comments, and I've got a lot of experience with that. So I think if I'd come into Quickstop F1 as my first content creation, and it got as big as it had got, and I had to read the stuff that we have to read, I think it would have been really hard. I guess the way that I deal with it, honestly, like I out of sight and out of mind. So, you know, as soon as a tweet starts to do numbers, I mute it. And because I just know it's gonna, a lot of the time it'll attract some form of negativity. But also you have to remember as well, when people take time out of their day to say negative things to you, that is a compliment in itself. Because
Mhm.
I think for me, I'm lucky that it kind of comes to me, it comes through the platform, and it's really like about me as a person. It's really about how I look, my sexuality or my sex or whatever, like my gender, all of those things. So I'm quite lucky in that what I see is quite content based. And
Mhm.
in that sense, if you're making fun of my content, you're interacting with it, you're helping my content, I don't care. I think, I, and I'm also quite self-assured, so I think that really helps. I think, I for those people who make content, all I would say is, when you love doing something, you kind of you learn to deal with the ups and downs of it, and you have to just focus on the people that are positive with you, the people that care about you, the people that like your content. Those are the people who deserve your time. The people who are negative about you, the block buttons there, the mute buttons there, get them out. Concentrate on the people who do support you, and that will create a better ratio of love to hate. But it's impossible to ignore, and everyone has to deal with it, I guess, in their own way, which sucks. We should just be able to make content without people saying mean things to you, but I guess that's the world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true, and bro, I absolutely agree with you, man. Like, there's always gonna be like, the people that rock with you and go strong with the campaign, and even if it's criticism, the criticism they will give you will be in a very positive way or constructive way. But then, of course, as well, you do get trolls, you do get people that just make a living out of other people. Like, they thrive off of other people's like success, and they want to bandwagon and glory hunt the thing, but they're insignificant. So to me,
Yeah,
I see them
exactly.
people as just minors. And like you mentioned as well, obviously we're all human at the end of the day. We all do have like feelings. And when
Yeah,
you're creating content in the way that you do, or I do, or Georgina does as well, there's almost a part of yourself that you're putting out there that could be exposed, and you might start to feel vulnerable. But like you correctly pointed out as well, you just have to believe in your own source, do your own thing, remember the sort of people that you're making the content for, rather than those minorities. And of
yeah,
course, as well, use the tools to your advantage, because there's a block button, there's a mute button, and I find myself as well, bro, using those buttons liberally these days. If I see
yeah,
an MVO fan in my camp, they're gone. Listen, I don't make
yeah.
no jokes to them.
For sure. You just like, I also, I'm a little bit older as well. So with that comes life experience. And, if I was doing this and I was 18, I guess the product would be a lot different, but also like my reaction to things would be a lot different. I probably wouldn't be as calm headed. I probably wouldn't be able to take things as well as I do. And, yeah, it's all just life experience, but for sure, you know you gotta that mute button on big tweets is a godsend. Because if I was just to read every comment that comes through after every viral tweet that we get, it wouldn't be great. So yeah, use the tools available, and you'll be okay.
Trust me, bro, it's toxic. Bro, you know that sweet? I know Georgina probably can't relate because she's not from the UK, but bro, you know that toxic waste sweet?
Yeah,
Toxic
yeah.
way, bro, that
What,
kind
the
of reminds.
sour one?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
sour
yeah,
thing, bro.
yeah, I remember
Oh
that.
my
I
days,
remember
bro.
that.
Like, that's how certain people move, man. But that's what it is. And if you look at any successful person, Jay-Z, if you look at people in the fashion industry, if you look at politicians, if you look at sports people, Lewis Hamilton's a prime example of just how, sometimes you get a lot of like bull from people. And it's just about how you can move from it, how you can bounce from it, and sometimes how you can take
Yeah.
the negative and spin it into positive. So I'm really glad we touched on that. And what I'll do now, I'm gonna segue smoothly into the most recent race weekend. So bam,
Okay.
we've gone back down under. I'm gonna allow the Australian accent, but we went
Yeah,
back to
yeah, yeah.
Australia, went back to Melbourne, Albert Park. Hadn't been there for a couple of years, obviously because of the pandemic, and wow, it was really interesting because obviously they resurfaced the entire circuit. They've revised one or two corners as well and removed the chicane to make it a much more flowing, high-speed circuit to promote overtaking. But maybe what took away from that was some very interesting event notes made by the race director. So to give our listeners at home, every weekend before a race weekend starts, the race directors will convene a meeting, and they might talk about some hot topics that maybe they feel is important, or things like very track specific to a circuit. Maybe let's say Sochi in Russia, where the first corner, if you go off the circuit, you have to basically go all the way to the left and follow the yellow bollard before you return on the circuit. And it's standard stuff like that what we've seen. That's to do with the racing. But these guys now, I'm smelling a bit of institutionalized racism in the ting, fam, because they're moving mad. And when I say they're moving mad, to put it long story short and to talk about the elephant in the room, the man just banned jewelry during the race. And it's just mad to me that you got like flipping Mad Max wearing his Wembley Market 1 carat gold boots out here, them Gola boots, them fake crepes. But Lewis, on the other hand, now is being prohibited from wearing his nose piercings, which is just mad to me because the guy's been wearing his nose piercings in the sport for almost nearly 2 decades. So why on Green's earth did these people just wake up? Bro, I wanted to know if they're smoking on that Mike crack pack. And they just said, you know what? Yeah, I know how we're gonna annoy, the ethnic minority, following. Let's just ban jewelry because we know that Lewis always wears it. Bro, what's your thoughts on this whole thing, man?
Um, uh, how do I put this? It's really we didn't talk about this on the pod, and obviously it's obviously something that came up, but the FIA, I've really just kind of lost all faith in the FIA as a forward-thinking organization, or
Mm-hmm.
Liberty Media for that part. But I think Liberty are probably a bit more forward-thinking. The FIA are just such, we had these issues with Massey in terms of consistency around stewarding, and obviously what happened in Abu Dhabi, and obviously he's gone, and it feels like the new race directors are trying to kind of, like in football, when a referee starts giving fouls for niggly fouls, and they're trying to, I guess, stamp their authority on the game. And I feel as if this is the new race directors essentially just trying to clamp down on every rule, and clamp down on every kind of infringement, no matter how major or minor it is. And you know, at the end of the day, there's just so many more pressing matters that could be monitored. And I think there was one about underwear as well that they've mentioned. And it's just, for them to do it during, and it's in the middle of the season as well, so there's not even been any incidents. It definitely does feel a bit targeted towards Lewis. I guess, the sad thing about it is that I almost feel quite numb to it now in terms
Mm-hmm.
of how Lewis gets treated by the FIA, or has been treated recently by the FIA. And I quite liked his response. He's like, I'm not taking them off. Some of these shits are welded into me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just that, this is part of who I am. And I can't envisage a situation where Lewis, God forbid, but if Lewis is, if a fire is getting through Lewis's helmet and overalls, I think we've got much bigger issues than whatever jewelry he's wearing, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, it's just again, it's just another farcical decision by the FIA. But these are people trying to stamp their authority. I think they're going about it in the wrong way, and I think the ridicule about it and the criticism is completely justified.
I agree with you on that as well, bro. And you've summed it up perfectly because these stewards are just moving mad. Like, there's more pressing issues, like you mentioned as well. I think the most recent one we could even just reference was the Jeddah situation where you had essentially a car overtake another car, like underneath or under the safety car by the safety car line. And their man refused to get involved. But it's Lewis Hamilton they want to get onto for nose piercings. They can't be serious at all. And I agree with you, and I echo those sentiments as well, bro. When you're saying that it's almost as if now we become numb to what to expect from these guys because it's one disaster class after another, after another, after another, and it can't be any coincidence. Believe me, that it's always Lewis that's on the receiving end of
Yeah,
these decisions or the way that they target him. And I think it gives like a vehicle for a lot of closet racists to come out and use that as like a character of Lewis's to go against, which again brings us back to the FIA and the way they treat drivers and the way they handle social issues as well. And what another thing I saw on the internet, bro, I wanted to get your thought on it. Is just, if they start this president, where are they gonna stop, bro? Because it's so cool them saying jury, but what are they gonna say next? You can't have long hair. What are they gonna say? You're too dark to drive. What are they gonna say? You need to be a certain height or a certain weight to drive a Formula One car.
yeah. I mean, it's just, I guess, where does it stop? And also, you know, at what point does this sport just start to appreciate what they have in Lewis? Because trust me, when he's gone, they're going to feel it, and
Mm.
they this complete over reliance on Lewis's stardom, Lewis's charisma, Lewis's identity, brand to promote their sport across the world, for them to then on the other cheek consistently maneuver in ways to essentially make him smaller and to disrespect him. It's just, yeah, if you ever wanted an example of institutional racism, that was probably it. And Lewis would be better off once he leaves this sport. Let's be very honest, one, because the brand that Lewis will build once he leaves is going to be off the charts, and you know is going to dwarf whatever F1 will become without him. And I think they'll regret how they treated him whilst he was here.
Bro, you phrased it so perfectly, and like it's so true but sad because it
Yeah.
shouldn't have to come to all of that. Like, everybody's different, everybody's unique in their own like and mind. And it's a shame. It's really embarrassing to me that even in the 21st century, even after all of the previous things that Lewis highlighted in 2020, when we were going through this like Black Lives Matter campaign and we were identifying some of the issues that, black people, regular black people like me and you, and also people of like color in higher positions experience on a day-to-day basis, how they're still moving. But bro, I want to move to a much lighter note because me and Jorgy have a new sponsor, and our sponsor
Nice.
is Max Verstappen packs. Yeah, it's that Max Verstappen pack, and I've got a new flavor. It's called
Yeah.
the Galactical Dodge pack, and I got a
Nice.
little song, I got a little advert, and it goes something
Wow.
like this. I was smoking on a Max Verstappen pack, Max Verstappen pack. Engine blew up on the side of the track, on the side of the track. Michael Massey ain't got his back. These engines ain't Will Smith, they don't slap. Smoking on that Max Verstappen pack, and it was absolutely sensational,
Wow.
bro. I
Can I
just
just give you a round of applause for that?
Hey, thank you, bro.
That's
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
incredible.
Man got melody and tunes for everyone. Man's
You've
got the
got for days.
man. I got that in the locker for the streets, man. But bro, so a question that's come through from Georgie was, bro, did Tommy really bang Juju on MVO? Because my guys had a rough start to the season, boy. Jeez, Rebel power trains in the mud and all that, going out all sad. The question that Georgie's put forward is, like, do you think Red Bull will ever iron that out? And what have you made of Perez's impressive start to the season so far?
I hope they don't iron it out, to be honest. um, but do I think they iron it out? Yeah, I mean, look, it's just not sustainable for them to have two engines like two engine issues in 3 races. That's just not a sustainable rate for any team. I think that's probably worse than when it was at its worst with Renault. So
Mhm.
you would hope they were to fix it. I think the two issues have been two separate issues as well, which doesn't help because it's like how much stuff on this engine could go wrong at any one moment in time.
True.
Um, so yeah, I mean, look, we'll see. There is the argument. Would you rather fix a reliable slow engine or a fast unreliable engine? I guess we'll see at the end of the year which one kind of prevails. But I, at the end of the day, the Red Bull, as much as we want to make fun of them, they're a team um, who are capable of turning it around. But this is the first time that this is going to have to be done in house. Before they could always just blame someone else, and now they've got no one else to blame. It's going to be interesting to see how they deal with it. I hope they deal with it awfully, and we'll see. But it uh, it would be incredible if they had like a 50% hit rate on their engines. Honda kind of left them in that bad shape, but
Well,
we'll
bro,
see.
Kwame from Pit Stop Fracas was saying that Honda left the manual for the Red Bull engineers in
Oh
Japanese and
man,
them things there.
that was
So
so
that's maybe
funny.
why they can't understand how
I
to
nearly
run this engine.
I nearly spat my tea out listening to that. Oh my god, that was so funny.
Oh man, that tweet
Unbelievable.
banged. That tweet was a banger for days, man. I
Yeah,
love
man.
that one. And shout out to the Quick Stop Fracas
Yeah,
guys as well. But
yeah, man. Set up yourself. They're great.
obviously, but also as well, man. What have you made about Bad B Perez? Perez coming to the
Perez,
Nits.
yeah, Perez. I've really changed my mind on Sergio Perez. I really thought that he was probably no more than a really good midfield runner. I didn't really believe that he had the capabilities to run at the top, but he's really just got better and better and better the more he's ensconced in that team. I like that I think midway through last season, he just said, you know what, I'm going with my own setup choices and I'm going to run the car how I want to. And that's really led to some really good results. His wheel to wheel racing is probably top 5 on the grid, I would say. And yeah, he is a great number 2 driver. I mean, I'd be if he keeps it up like this, you know, it's looking tight for Gasly. To be honest, I don't really see a way back into that team with Perez performing the way that he is. Yeah, no, I think he's doing really right. He's working at the level that he should be, which is when Max isn't there, pick up the pieces, qualify close to or ahead of Max, and in the race be up there to be able to fight for race wins. Very unlucky in Jeddah, probably maybe missed out on a race win there, or at least being in with a chance of winning the race. So yeah, we will see. But no, I've got nothing but positive words to say for Perez. He's really proved me wrong. Some of the comments that we made about him were definitely been proven wrong. I'm happy to eat that humble pie.
Well, man, this is the thing as well, Nyasha. Like, and that's like for all of the real content creators out there as well. Like, we can only go based on the form that we see at a time, and obviously as well, if people aren't performing, then that's all you can judge them on. And we even had the thing with Valtteri Bottas, where like fans were quite divided because we all knew that he had the potential. We all knew that he had cracking one lap pace in qualifying sessions, but then sometimes it really failed to translate into the race. And
Yeah.
that's what we had to go off on. And with Perez, it's like you mentioned and you correctly pointed out as well that he's definitely stepped up his game. He's improved his qualifying, so it puts him in a more competitive position for the races. And then the races have always been his strong suit because he's quite good at tire management. He's got that kind of thing in his locker as well, where he can drive wheel to wheel races with other drivers. And of course, we've seen some really lovely battles with him and Lewis in the last couple of
Yeah.
months as well. So yeah, I'm here for it. And as much as I don't really rate the dark side, I don't really rate them racist guys there at Red Bull, really and truly. For me, like Perez is probably one of the shining lights of the team, and he kind of restores some respectability in my eyes at least. And I can only speak for myself when it comes to Red Bull. So definitely. And that also kind of brings us on to the next kind of segment, bro. Race review of the Australian Grand Prix. What did you make of this revised layout, and do you think it improved the racing at all?
Um, I mean, it was bad to
Yeah.
begin with. So, I mean, yes, it improved it. Do I think it's a great racetrack for these cars? No. I've never been a fan of Albert Park, to be honest. But, you know, um, we need a race on that continent, and it's definitely the best track I think we've got available, and it's definitely a great event. Everyone talks about how it's a great fan event, especially the access that I think all fans have to the drivers is great, and I think that's something more circuits need to kind of take a look at. So yeah, yes, I think it did improve it, but do I think that at the end of the day, I'm happy that Bahrain is the opening track of the season now. I think it's a better start to the season than going to Melbourne. But I still, yeah, it's still not a track that is favorable for high amounts of overtaking.
I agree, and that's always it's like we had this conversation as well, bro, the other day when we were talking about
Yeah,
Jeddah and like how track like almost street circuits have evolved because Albert Park is probably one of the more older ones that we still go
yeah,
to, along with Monaco, and sometimes it's hard to get the planning permission or just physically to do much with the circuit. And then obviously you've got newer ones that are being rushed, like what we had in Jeddah, and that had its issues as well with safety and other concerns as well to do with the design. So always gonna have that. But like you said as well, I think it's great that maybe we reshuffled the calendar a bit so it's not actually the first season opener. And again, I think just from a neutral perspective, it was nice seeing the Australian fans. I know Ari and a lot of the guys as well would have been super excited, to go there. And what I'm quite jealous of as well, bro, is Ted Kravitz was basically explaining how in Albert Park or on the Park circuit, the fans are allowed to basically stay like on the how would you say like backstage basically in the what's the word, kind of the paddock essentially. And it doesn't matter if you've got like the cheapest ticket or if you've got the most expensive ticket, everybody has a right to do that. And it just makes me wish that more circuits would encourage that as well, because as we all know, Formula One's a really expensive sport, and it's nice to have that accessibility to the drivers, the teams, and the personalities as well, man.
yeah. No, exactly. And that's the way forward. We need to we need to make F1 more accessible for fans to go to the races, and we need to make it more accessible for fans to watch it at home. This when this current TV deal with Sky expires, which I think is not even for a long time now, there needs to be a better free to air option in the UK, because having it all behind a paywall and then also not allowing people to have access to F1 TV the same way other people do around the world, it's just it's not conducive to getting younger fans into sport, especially when your social media is increasing. We need to make it easier for people to watch the sport. Otherwise, people are going to stream it, and that's fine. But surely, if you can get people little small, it's about getting kids like me who sat down in front of a TV, BBC, watching it with Murray Walker commentating and being like, wow, this stuff is incredible. Like if I hadn't had that, I wouldn't have got into Formula One until a much later age. And accessibility across the board from top to bottom, getting into the sport, to work in the sport, to go to the sport, to watch the sport, it all needs to increase. And I guess, yeah, Albert Park is a good example of that, because it's reasonably priced. and a lot of access for fans as well. So you can't knock it on that front, which is why I don't like being too harsh on it.
Absolutely, and bro, man, you just gave me a huge flashback, man. Them Murray Walker days, and
Yeah,
man, the Murray, like Murray and his Murrayisms. So you'd be like, yes, and that's Michael Schumacher, and then you look on the screen and it's
yeah,
Rubens Barrichello, and,
yeah,
and all them things there, man. No, that was a
yeah,
classic vintage day, and God bless his soul, man. Murray
yeah.
Walker
No,
was one of the
R.I.P. for real, man.
honestly one of the goated goats, man, for real. But that kind of
Mhm.
brings us on then to like the Ferrari camp because they seem to be on a resurgence right now. So
Yeah.
what have you made, bro, about the science struggle at the moment? Because people are still kind of they got their chips still invested in him, I see, but hasn't really had the start to this season that he would like. And bro, what's your take on him so far? And do you think if he can't get like back on into the main seat and give Leclerc more of a fight or get closer to Leclerc, that ultimately he might end up just being a second driver?
Yeah, it's looking that way. Carlos is a great driver. I think he showed that with his adaptability last year. Um, but he needs a race win in the next 3 races or so. Otherwise, it's tight for him. I'm not gonna lie to you. And that's just the way things go. His car is the most complete package, and we all know what Ferrari are like. The moment that they can just start to focus on one guy, they will do it. So
Oof.
he he's got to turn it around. I think he can turn it around. And look, we've watched seasons where we thought one person was going to run away with it, and last season, the twists and turns. I think Lewis won what 3 out of the first 4 races. And then we had that whole European stretch where Max won up to Silverstone, and obviously Silverstone happened, and yeah. Then we had Belgium and Spa, so Belgium and Zandvoort. So we don't know. Things could twist and turn, and it's still too early in the season to say definitively. So I think he's got the talent to win a race, and I think obviously getting that first one is going to be a big over the hurdle kind of exercise for him, but needs to happen soon. Otherwise, yeah, man, it's just the way things go. Ferrari will pull all their resources into
Jaws.
into Leclerc, and yeah, and then after that, there's not really much he'll be able to do.
Yeah, bro, that was a really good and very balanced perspective there as well, man. I think people from both sides can kind of see that, that yes, like it's not been the greatest start. It's been probably underwhelming even by his standards, but at the same time as well, like you rightfully pointed out, Formula One's a game of momentum, and sometimes it can swing very erratically. And when it swings, you just need that one race to go your way, and then you can go on a run. But for science as well, it's not just even the battle with Leclerc that he needs to focus on, but Red Bull are probably going to try and fix the reliability issues, of course. And then on top of that, in our Mercedes camp, we're hoping that the W13 can become a beast and, really put their man under pressure as well. So,
For
yeah,
sure.
whilst, the soup's still hot, I think science needs to try and capitalize and make the most of it too, because, it only makes
Exactly.
sense.
He doesn't know
But
how long is we don't I always say you don't know how many shots at winning the title you're gonna get. This Ferrari car could be great this season. We could go into next season and they do a few regulation changes like they did with Mercedes last year. And that car, and then they don't develop the car, whatever. Like, it's not guaranteed Ferrari are going to be the best team now for this generation of cars. So, you have to make hay while the sun's shining. And for Carlos, especially, he definitely needs to just chuck last weekend like Australia away, put that in the bin, move on, show why he got put in that car, show why they wanted to give him a new contract, and take it from there.
yeah, I absolutely agree with you, man. And then kind of another question that Jorgy's kindly caveated on the back of this on the topic of Ferrari is what have you made of Leclerc's like job so far and how he's progressed this season? And Jorgy's also asked, do you think that Leclerc has what it takes to do a better job than Vettel when Vettel was back at Ferrari? And I think, bro, it's almost as if she knows you super well, bro, because I know that you got some previous with Mr.
Uh,
SV5 himself.
I
So
don't really.
yeah.
I just don't. I just think he's. I just think every excuse under the sun is made for Sebastian Vettel. And as a Lewis Hamilton fan, I find it incredible the amount of leeway that Sebastian Vettel gets for the performances that he's put in, which would never be afforded to Lewis, which aren't being afforded to Lewis now. So, um, Charles Leclerc has already shown he could do better than Sebastian Vettel, over 2 seasons, and that's what that is. I definitely think that we Charles looks to have removed the mistakes, unforced errors that he seemed to have in his
Facts.
game. His racing seems to be, very on point, very tight. His, one lap pace over qualifying seems to be great. In practice, he seems to be just, super consistent. We're watching someone mature into a he was already world class, but into a superstar driver in front of our eyes. I've always said that, a lot of people kept trying to stick, illegal engine tax on there. And look, if the elite, Vettel had that same illegal engine and did nothing with it. And this
True.
guy in his first season with Ferrari came in and, nearly won his second race if it wasn't for an engine failure. And I think he put it, and people say, he put it on pole 7 times, only won 3 times. But, there's a lot of people who have a fast car and don't have that 1 lap pace to put it on the front row, look at Verstappen this season. So I just think Charles Leclerc is the future of this sport. Between him, I think George, and I think Max, I think those 3, possibly put Lando in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think those 4 drivers are going to be, the future of the sport. Lando must be ruining signing that 5-year contract. That is a death row contract.
Suge Knight ting, fam.
Yeah, bro, Zach Brown just absolutely Suge Knighted him, and we'll see. But hopefully, McLaren are back towards the front now, so that's good. But we'll see. But for sure, Charles Leclerc is definitely on the way to becoming a superstar within the sport, and he's got everything to achieve that. So more power to him.
That's so true, and bro, I echo your sentiments on that one as well, man. Because we have to bear in mind with Leclerc as well that he suffered a lot of trauma in his early, racing career. He's grown up and he's lost his father at a really young age and had to live with that. And he didn't have his dad, there by his side. Although he had his dad during his go-karting days, he didn't have his dad during his F3 and F2 career. And obviously, he was very close friends. I think he was Jules Bianchi was his godfather, and obviously, you watched Jules get taken away in a really sad accident in
Yeah.
2014 as well. He's gone through so many emotions. And I think at times, yes, he can be a bit erratic, which we've seen in the past. But like you said, he's ironing out the creases, he's making less mistakes. And I just love that he's got this like wise head on him. And that basically he's not taking none of Max Verstappen's bullcrap this season. None of it. Racing incident thing and that. Because basically, this the way he had Max Verstappen in his back pocket, in Bahrain. And it probably would have been the same thing as well in Jeddah had it not been for not Teller Boy and Albano going crazy as well. And then even
Yeah.
this race as well, like the Ferrari was quick, no doubt, but at times the Red Bull looked like it was gonna be the better car, especially in terms of race pace, and yet Leclerc just seemed unfazed. He just seemed, like when you're trying to catch a Pokemon and then you dash the Pokeball and then it says this move was not effective. That's basically Leclerc, fam. He was just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you man try that and that, man. Man's not having that. I'm just gonna chill and enjoy it. And like you rightly pointed out as well in relation to science, like the team will definitely galvanize around Leclerc more if science doesn't pick up the pieces and try and kind of like do something. because Charles is a superstar. You see that
Yeah.
like ability and that nature and that cheekiness, and this he's got that kind of like a swagger and fashion sense to him as well. He can be a bit tapped in the head, which we all know, but
Yeah,
you know
we all
everybody has
know.
like an element of craziness. So yeah, man, like I'm really rooting for him, and as long as he keeps MVO under pressure, then I love to see it. So I definitely agree with the points that you mentioned there, man. And
No worries.
yeah, and okay, so Georgie's put in a fan question. I don't know if it was aimed at me, but Nyasha, feel free to kind of chime in on this one as well. She's basically said we often hear from teams about the one-stop strategy and the two-stop strategy. What are these strategies talking about, and what determines the best strategy? So okay, so basically, in Formula One, the teams have lots of simulations and algorithms and computers and really nerdy guys that probably went to Cambridge and Oxford and them places there, high society thing. And what they do is they take and collect the data. And what helps you win a Formula One race is getting to the finishing line as quick as you can. That's a Will Buxton basic knowledge kind of response. But obviously, Pirelli have a role in this, and Pirelli have like a really tough double balancing act in terms of not making a boring race where the tires are like super hard and therefore like you can just predictably do a one stop and everybody can comfortably get to the end of the race, because of course that's boring, and of course you know the cynical F1 fans would hate that and not give the tire whisperers like Lewis Hamilton the credit for that, of course. So therefore, on the flip side of it, Pirelli also have a balancing act of making the tires degrade to an extent, so you can't basically do the entire race on a one stop. And at times, it might actually be quicker to throw in a set of old boots, strap on a set of soft tires, and then bang in 20 quali laps and like basically beat you up that way. So at least what we've seen with the trend of the Pirelli tires so far this season is it appears to be that the one stop is the way forward, because the time you lose pitting for a set of soft tires and coming back out again isn't worth it because the soft tires don't last that long. And with Pirelli, they basically have five shots at it because there's five compounds: C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5, like a formula. And essentially, every weekend, they'll pick three of those bad boys and they'll pick those based on the tire that will give you the most grip for qualifying, a nice kind of like race tire that, you know, has a medium life, and then like a nice, this solid compound, like a hard tire. You could just basically run that the entire race. But it's not the quickest tire. So that is my kind of synopsis of it. But Nyasha, did you want to add anything on that as well?
Wow, no, you've actually broke that down like a young Ted Kravitz. That was lovely.
Yo,
Um,
they call me Ted Blackett's fam. That's what I'm on. Oh man.
uh, yeah, and look, yeah, strategies. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And I guess what you'll learn is that really and truly, most of the time, if possible, teams will want to do a one-stop strategy,
Mhm.
and it's most of the time the two-stop is like the alternative strategy, because obviously the more time that you're spending in the pits, the less time you're out on the road doing time, and you have to make up time, and you have to pass people on the track, and sometimes it's not easy to pass people on the track. So, yeah, but, strategy is one of those things that, pardon me, sorry, the more F1 races you watch, you do just it just starts to become second nature. To be honest, there's nothing like that's a lot of things in F1. Like I'm not an engineer or know anything about aeronautical engineering, but like the concept of downforce and what a rear wing does, and what front wing does, and like now what the side pods do, and all of that stuff. Like it all kind of just seeps into you the more you watch it. So don't be afraid to ask questions and learn. But also, yeah, the more you watch, the more you'll just kind of learn on your own anyway. To be honest.
Trust me, and also organic plug as well, because I'm going to continue shouting it throughout this entire episode. If you want to get the latest in F1 tech knowledge, make sure you slap that subscribe button, you slap that follow button, not like Will Smith though, with consent
Yeah,
obviously, and that you obviously sign up to Quick Stop F1 as well, because what are you doing
yeah.
with your life? Go and
We're
subscribe.
for sure. No, we're actually gonna try and of course, alongside your excellent hot lap guides,
Oh, thank you.
we're looking to try and get like a regular tech section on there, maybe just looking at some tech issues that a certain team are having, or looking at any updates and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure. Also, there is, if you follow is it Bryson Sullivan, Natural Paradigm, they have they host a tech Discord where there's loads of information about people just talking about the tech side of F1, and they that's a wealth of information, and you can always ask questions in there as well, in a setting where people are really happy to answer those questions. So yeah, just thought I'd plug that as well, because it's a great resource.
Absolutely, and shout out to Bryson as well. He's a fountain of knowledge, and as I always
Big,
say,
big time.
wisdom is knowledge, and knowledge is power. And literally, with that team of amazing people, there's no stupid questions. It's only stupid if you're a troll that likes to troll people. But we don't talk about them, man. There. But
Yeah.
when it comes to questions and just learning stuff, them guys are just brilliant, and it's a huge credit to them that we have them as part of the community that we have, and ultimately as
Yeah.
well, we're teaching each other, which is great as
100%.
well.
I think as well, like that's the great thing about uh the community of F1 that we have, is that it really is a little village, and we all uplift each other, and we all share, each other's content, and we all, inform each other and entertain each other, and uplift each other, and it's a great thing to be a part of. So, if you're new to the sport, and if you're new to the community, just follow as many people. If you see someone doing something good or making a funny tweet over, just follow them, and then you'll see something that they retweet, and you'll see that, and you'll grow to interact and make friends and gain knowledge. It has enhanced my F1 watching experience considerably. Just the incredible community that we kind of have on F1 on Twitter. I mean, look, compared to Instagram, I think based on what we were talking about earlier, Tani just messaged me saying she's had to delete comments calling us the N word, about the just from the clip that we posted today, and it can kind of show you the difference in communities. Like Twitter
Mhm.
is a really positive community. Instagram, I've just gone through the comments, and it's not so positive. So
Oh man,
definitely value the Twitter kind of space, because it really is unique, and it's great. It's a great place to be.
absolutely. And we're gonna circle around back to that, bro. But let me throw in my favorite segments of the show as well. And this is where I get
Sure.
hypothetical with the guests. So hear me on, Yasha. Hear this. So quick stop F1. You and Tandy just secured a bag. I'm talking about that Russ Brown, that Stefano Dominicali bag, that fat,
Yeah.
Middle Eastern bag, bro.
Okay.
Billions in the bank, yeah.
Okay.
And you can basically have quick stop F1 race team, yeah.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
so you guys have your own Formula One, unprecedented, a black-owned Formula One team. Love to see it,
Of
and
course.
I'm speaking it into existence one day. But
One day.
you and Thandi are the owners of the team, obviously. My question to you is, if there are three companies that you could get to work or collaborate with as sponsors for your fantasy F1 team, which three companies would you pick to sponsor? And
Oh wow.
you have to pick a team principal, but the team principal has to be a celebrity. Which celebrity would you choose and why?
Wow. I think I'd love to work with Apple.
Hmm.
Um, I'd love to work with maybe like Yeezy apparel for the
Hmm.
race suits and the merch. So it's Apple, Yeezy, and I would love to work with oh God. Let's go with Rock Nation for the entertainment side of things as well.
Okay.
Um, uh, my team's going broke very quickly, I guess, but and
Nah, man, it's growing
and
exponentially.
and if I was going to have a celebrity, I guess I've already mentioned Rock Nation, so I'd have Jay-Z as a team principal, because he seems to know how to run a tight ship, tight business. Any business he runs seems to do well. Any team he has seems to do well. So I'm going to go Jay-Z as the team principal.
Man, that is a solid team, boy, and I would love to see it because you know you've got Apple, which are the tech giants, and as we
Yeah,
all know, Formula One's about technology. Oh man, the Yeezy merchandise,
yeah. Could be
jeez, that
cold,
would be,
right?
mate, it would
Could
be
be cold.
flames, and you know, like even if it was like expensive, bro, it'd still be. Well, just another inside joke I have with some other people in comparison to like the Aston Martin merch, bro. I don't know if you've seen that £1,000 jacket on the Aston
I
Martin
have
site. It
seen
is
the £1,000 jacket, bro.
oh,
It's
bro,
mate, it's mad. It's
it's crazy.
bro, but it's they price it like that because someone's gonna pay it. So maybe we're the mugs. To be honest, but no, that jacket is I don't think it's worth a grand. But there you go. That's someone's fashion, I guess.
Nah, it's true, but the Yeezy merch, oof, that would be
Oh,
off the chain. And then
that'd be
you
awesome.
touched on Jay-Z as well, being like a team principal. And man, like, you know, you see those memes on the internet on Twitter, bro, where you see like people saying, oh, if you had to choose between like, you know, like, I don't know, eating your favorite thing for the rest of your life or having a business meeting with Jay-Z where he could give you insightful, you know, like business investment advice and
Yeah.
everyone goes and picks Jay-Z.
You know what?
Man,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, there was a time, but the thing is, yeah, the number keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher, right? And I'm just gonna say, like, at the time of questioning, it was at 20,000, right? So it was like, would you take $20,000 or dinner with Jay Z? And I said I would take dinner with Jay Z, but not because I want like business tips, but just because I literally love Jay Z so
yeah.
much. Like he is my favorite rapper. He's my favorite like celebrity, whatever. I would just do it because I would want to meet Jay Z, and I think that I would be able to make $20,000 at some point in my life. So for me, like that experience is like a priceless experience. So that's for all the everyone listening now, everyone knows an absolute Jay-Z stan.
Yay.
But yeah, I think it'd be a cool team principal.
Man, you got bro. That's gonna be a successful team. If they thought Mercedes were dominant with Lewis,
Nah,
oh
they're not seeing
shit.
anything yet. Not seeing
Tell
anything
me
yet.
about it. Tell me about it,
That
man.
black
They're
and
going
yellow merch. Come on.
hoo crispy. Oh man, love to see it, bro. And okay, that brings me on to another question then. So this is more to do with Quick Stop F1, is this the content aspect of it.
Yeah.
What, Nyasha, what is your favorite episode, favorite
Oh,
moment, and favorite fan cam? You got to give me an example for each
okay.
three of those.
Um, favorite episode. Wow. Obviously, the one with you, Denz.
Oh, you don't have to say that because I'm him.
Um, favorite episode. I'm trying to think of episode. You know what? Yeah, like I can chart our growth, and I can definitely say that there was a period. I don't really have like a favorite. You know what? Actually, I would say genuinely like my favorite episode, probably the Saudi Arabia episode last year with Tommy, purely because it was probably the happiest I've ever been on the pod, and we were just so like, just like that race was just it meant so much. We got through all of the Max Verstappen shenanigans, and
Mhm.
we were just like so pumped because like he's done it. He's won 3 in a row, and it's just like it was just honestly, it was like and it was just such a funny episode. And it just felt at that point. I remember us saying like, God, it's gonna be so cool when we win next week, and it probably the peak of happiness I've had in F1, and it's obviously it just got ruined after that. So,
Oh
but
man.
but I definitely remember that episode and just thinking it was just I've never been happier on the podcast than at that point. My favorite moment, I'm not gonna lie to you, Silverstone. Me and Tandy did the podcast
Ooh.
really drunk. Like I'd been drinking all day separately. We didn't text each other or anything, but I turned up really drunk. Tandy turned up really drunk. And you know what? It was the first time, I think it was the first time that we really like, I wouldn't say the first time, but it felt like the first time we really were just like, we were just so outlandish in everything we said. And then we'd had little moments of it, but we were just both of us so just like the way we took the piss out of Red Bull was just like, I think it just set the tone for like, and we realized, oh, this is what people like, and oh, we can say things that are quite outlandish, and we can kind of push the button a little bit, push the boat, and I just that I think my favorite moment I think is I think me and Tandy was saying when they go low, we go lower, and I think I just remember thinking that was hilarious. I must special shout out when we got Trayvon on the pod as well. I think that was like a really cool moment, and that's really cool because he came around for dinner after that, and that was like it's not often you have an Oscar winner come around for dinner, so that was pretty cool.
Hey, in the big
Uh,
leagues.
yeah,
Listen.
that was pretty sick. I can't lie. And my favorite fan cam, I think it's got to be you know what? Yeah, my favorite is probably the Maya Angelou still we rise one after Lewis won 100 because it's like probably the most beautiful thing I've ever made.
Man, it's
Um,
powerful.
yeah, I think that is just like I'm really proud of it. Like it took me, I was ill. I think I just had COVID. So I had COVID when Lewis won, so I wanted to make it and it come out straight away, but it didn't come out for like a week, and I think that probably stopped it from going like supersonic. But I mean, it did really well. But yeah, no, it was just like I remember making it and being a bit ill and just like putting it together, and then just like I got a bit like emotional watching it. You don't really, when you make something, you're obviously editing it for hours, so you don't really like get that emotional. But I got
Sure.
emotional, and people's reactions to it is really emotional. But special shout out also to the Lewis is Back fan cam, where I think I clipped talking about how it was like the Lion King.
Oh, mate, that one
And
is
I think
legendary.
I really love that one. I think that's it's probably like if I was to have like kids, I think like the Maya Angelou one is the like that's like the doctor, the lawyer, and the Lion King Scar one is probably like my little like creative actor or something. Like they're just so different, but they're both like I'm really happy with how they both came out, and I love making them, man. It's like a level of creativity that honestly, it's like nothing makes me happier than making them. And I've made food content for years, and it always felt like something was missing. And like now I'm making fun content, it just feels so right and so comfortable, and everyone really enjoys them. And well, everyone on Twitter anyway. I don't know about Insta, but everyone really enjoys them, and it's a really nice. Our fans are just not fans. Our listeners are just so like supportive of everything we do, and it's just such a you know this as well. It's just such a lovely thing to have people all over the world, support something that you do. It's humbling as fuck, and I'm just so like grateful and humble for everyone who kind of takes in these videos and shares them and asks for them, because honestly, like their reactions are the best thing about doing them.
It's so true, bro, and it's such an enlightening experience, and
Yeah,
man, just like it's amazing. Even for those haters, them, bro, like the content's hard, but the haters, they're not hard. They need to take blue pills just to get hard.
just
So
to get
we don't
hard.
even talk about them, man, there
Yeah,
because they're just not
exactly.
hard. But listen, like like I'm so glad that you gave us those responses, man, because it gives the listeners also like perspective as to what to go and look out for on the channel and on the Twitter page, and just like those gems
Yeah.
alone would sell you on this subscribing and being part
Yeah,
of this journey as well.
I need to make a I'm gonna make a separate media page and just where I'm gonna put all of the videos that we've ever done. So it's just all in one place, and obviously, yeah, the YouTube's there, and yeah, man, like it's a really like every week someone's like, oh, I've just listened to this podcast for the first time. Where's this podcast been? And it's a really cool feeling to I know what it was like not having something like this to listen to. And look, it's not just us. You've got, Pit Stop Fracker as well. You've got the On the Chicane girls. You've got yourself making content. Um there's a growing number of Black and people of color content creators who are unashamedly making content, and they're not hiding their personality. They're not hiding their identities, and there is a vulnerability in doing that. And I think for people looking for content, go out there and support those guys, because putting ourselves out there in a majority white sport is not easy at times. And it's the support of people like yourselves that makes it all worthwhile, for sure.
Facts, straight facts, bro. And I'm so happy that you've said it. And mate, there's so many things as well you touched on there as well, which is so applicable. And it's not even just in Formula One, in life. The
Yeah,
obstacles that you have to face, and the doors that people slam in your face, and the criticism that you receive. And through it all, not to be cringy, still we rise. And we're still gonna rise that to the end, because we're not done, we're not finished. We're gonna continue to march on, and it's just gonna get bigger, it's gonna get better, and it's gonna be absolutely extravagant. So I'm
amen.
all here for it. Bro, I've been one of the campaigners
You
just
have,
on board
look,
with the team.
Denz, you've been there from day dot, supporting your hot lap segments on the build up show. Is the most popular segment on the show, and it's incredible to see the work you put in on that. I'm very grateful for it. I'm so excited for your journey in this thing. We're going to be working a lot together in the future anyway. So yeah, it's and I think that's a great thing about this whole community, right? We've made friends out of this, and I'm really excited for all of our futures, man. Like when you think about F1 as a sport, socially, this is a sport which didn't really embrace social media until 2018, 19. So we're all at the beginning point of what is possible. Look at football social media, and look the content and the stuff that's come out of it. We're at the beginning of it, and we're growing our platforms with a growing sport. So it's really exciting for everyone involved.
Absolutely, man. And like, bro, it doesn't even feel like bro. To me, it just feels like we're a huge family. You, Tandy, obviously Georgie as well. Like, you guys have become a
For
part of
sure.
my life now, and it's just one of them ones where it's great that we have this community. And that's gonna kind of bring me on to the next question, which we also kind of touched on earlier in this episode. Like, what advice would you give to the young kids, or even like the old boomers out there, because they
Like
got a
myself.
word or two to say? Hey, Uncle Nyasha
I
out here.
know, right?
Uncle allegations. I was trying my best to avoid it, bro, but
Yeah, I
you
know.
triggered me there. But like, what advice would you have to them making content in the F1 space? Are there any tips on like how they should execute
Yeah,
it,
of
and
course.
how do they stay motivated and inspired to do it?
Just be yourself. Don't look at someone else's content and try and copy that. Just make the type of content that you want to make, that you can make, and just enjoy the process. And never let someone tell you that you can't do something. When people tell you they can't do something, that you can't do something, that's them projecting their fears onto you. Like, don't let people do that, because they're scared. They're trying to make you scared, and that's fine. Like, but if you want to make F1 content, go and make F1 content. You can start with your phone. You can edit on your phone. You can upload it. Done. You don't have to do YouTube. Do short form TikTok content. Do short form reels. If you want to write about F1, like not everyone has to be a YouTuber. Not everyone has to make visual content. So just follow your passion, because I started following mine when I was 31.
Mhm.
How old am I now? Yeah. Wait, no, 32. God, I'm old. So, um, so and it's the best decision I ever made. I wish I'd done it earlier, but everything happens for a reason, and so I would just say, just go out there and do it. Make the content you want to make, and just do it as consistently as you can. Consistency is key. If you can do it as consistently as possible, you'll get better at it. You'll feel yourself improving. You'll feel yourself becoming more creative. You'll grow that fan base. And also, yeah, interact with people that enjoy your stuff. Say thank you to people who share your stuff. Say, talk to your listeners, talk to your fans, to your followers, because they're the people that will, at the end of the day, uplift you into wherever you want to take this. And there's nothing worse than content creators who ignore the people who essentially support them. So that ramble is my advice. Hopefully there's something good in there for you.
Nuggets of information there, bro. Don't downplay yourself, man. There's nuggets, golden nuggets of opportunity, like of information there. And what's great and why I rate Jorgy so highly too is that we've had so many guests on the show, and they're from this array of different backgrounds. You had F1 Black, which is into like writing and doing posts, and he's done some sensational work with the 44. Then you've got like guys like me, which I've done a bit of sim racing, and then through sim racing, I've been able to do podcasting with you and Jorgy. And then through podcasting, I met a real life racing driver and then got to take part in a karting championship. So
Yeah.
that opened a whole new thing for me. We even had, obviously, as well, Dan mode, I think 10 or mode 12 or
Yeah.
11 from the Red Bull, like a former Red Bull engineer. And even then, like,
Yeah.
he didn't go to Oxford or he didn't even go to Cambridge. This was like a really like passionate guy that took an opportunity that came to him for Formula One, and he absolutely smashed out of the park. And again, it goes to show you that you don't have to fit the generic mold to achieve what you want. If you really want something and you really want it that badly, nothing can stop you and nothing's impossible. And that is really what, for me, amongst many other things, is really embodied by Quickstop F1 and the work that you put out as well. So, Nyasha, I
Thank you.
really just want to salute you, salute Tandy, and I
Yeah.
also just want to just ask you guys as well, is there anything that you guys have coming out in the future that you guys are looking forward out to? I also know that you dropped a podcast episode today. Do you want to
Yeah.
enlighten our listeners as to what that was about and what we can look forward to?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, yeah, the pod just come out today. That's the Australia GP review. So check
Mhm.
that out. That was with who was that with? That was with Anita Abayomi, I believe, who
She does the
is
Chelsea FC stuff, doesn't she?
yeah, so she's like a
Bro,
football content creator, and she's like she does great like writing. She has a all women podcast about football, and she does content with Chelsea. Like she's you see her on Sky Sports News, and that's the thing. You look at football.
jeez.
Sky Sports News get football content creators on, and we're seeing it now with Any Given Monday. I think Tomo's on there every now and then. I think they've got some other people on there as well. So, the mainstream slash, I think football's a lot further ahead with it, but you can see Sky Sports doing it, and yeah, it's good to see. But anyway, yeah, that was the latest episode. Coming up, God, like we've got so much coming up. We're merch is coming back. We're gonna have Patreon, which will have an uh, extra episode every before every race. We're gonna have a website and hopefully more writing as well. So yeah, just loads of stuff. We're just kind of continuing to try and grow, but the most important thing is just trying to get the word out there as much as possible. Like this is what we do. We can. I saw today like Missed Apex, like I think they do like 30,000 listens every post race, which is like yeah, that's where we want to get
It's
to.
numbers, man, but it's
Those are the
achievable.
numbers. Exactly. It shows you it's achievable, right? And that's where we want to get to. And I think that's it's cool to see an independent platform do what they do. They're a big inspiration for me. And and they're great guys as well. Obviously, we know Brad, who's obviously, you guys have, really got a great relationship there, and Spanners. But yeah, so that's it really. Like, we're just like a fun F1 podcast that just want to make F1 as light-hearted as possible, and hopefully some people like that, and yeah, we take it as far as we can.
Well, listen, bro. They have to like it because if they don't like it, if they can't taste the spices, then man must have COVID in that. Because trust me, this thing got spices and flavors for days. And listen, there's something in there for everyone. You know, you talked about the writing, you talked about the podcast, you talked about so many different aspects of content, and it's such a huge plethora. And I think what's impressive is that when you're doing so many things and it's so multifaceted, it's very easy for the message or the content to become diluted. But in this case, it's the complete opposite, man. It's actually gelled everything together. It's super organic from the seed, and it's what people like me aspire, to be like one day. And thank God that, thank God, I'm on my knees again. Pause, because you guys really, made like a way. You guys have been a trendsetter in this kind of field, and to me, like, Quick Stop F1 is much more of an amazing, sustainable alternative compared to the likes of Sky F1. If you're watching Sky F1, you have to check Quick Stop F1. Is a must. Is a must. So
Thank you.
please, Nyasha, please tell us where they can find you, where they can find Tandy, and also just the ads and the handles for Quick Stop F1 too.
Sure. So you can find me at obviously Munch Club TV. That's the personal. But obviously Quick Stop F1. That's where you can find us on everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Tandy is Tandy Tweets. With multiple S's. I would say just go to the Quick Stop page and then click a link because I can't be bothered to spell it out. And then on Instagram it's THN 3Ds. Go check her out. And yeah, man, like just come and say hi. We're really friendly. We love chatting to people. We love meeting listeners and stuff. So yeah, man, just come check us out and come say hello.
Amen to that, man. And honestly, Nyasha, bro, we gotta get you on again. We gotta get the boss lady on here
Yeah,
as well. It'd be cool
sure.
for like maybe Jorgy and Tandy to do like an episode maybe together as well. And
Yeah.
oh man, I'm so excited for the journey. I'm really wishing you all well. You know that I'm
Thank you.
just here, text message away, man. And obviously Georgie as well, super intrigued and fascinated by you guys as well. I think we picked up a lot from that too, man. Georgie, I think one day we got to do an episode drunk together. I think that's a great idea. So giving us a lot of inspiration in that way too, man. But yeah, sure, honestly,
100%.
thank you so much, bro, for pulling up, for chopping it up with me. And oh man,
No
this
worries.
episode is gonna be a banger. I can't wait to release this one to the streets.
Can't wait to hear it, man. Thank you so much, Denz. Look, keep smashing it. Georgie as well. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. And thank you to all you listeners as well. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and yeah, thank you very much, guys.
You heard what the man said, and that's also me signing off as well. AMG Dens. Hope you will have a blessed and awesome week. Also, to those fasting at the moment for Ramadan, please, keep up the great work that you're doing, and you have my support. And also those celebrating Easter this weekend as well. Hope you have a nice and safe Easter holiday coming up, well deserved. And yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a gap until the next race, but in the meantime, the content will continue coming. Make sure you go and check out Quick Stop F1, please. And until next time, I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.